The other day I was chatting and I was like, I don't have that many ongoing series. Boy, was I wrong. Hello and welcome to my channel. In this video, I'm going to be talking about all of the ongoing series that I am in the midst of now. So this is going to be specifically series that I have started, and I have additional entries to read that are already out. So not including series like Stormlight, for example, where the next book's not out, so obviously I can't read that. So I'm not counting that. So this is only a series that have additional entries that I have not personally finished. This will be in mostly no particular order, although I'm going to start with top priority, and then I'm going to end with kind of like the really, really low priority, and then everything else is just going to be in the middle somewhere because I don't have it planned out that well, particularly. But the first one I have to mention is The Wars of Light and Shadow, which this could change by the time this comes out. But as of filming, I have 5 remaining books, and then the very last book is going to be coming out hopefully before too long, which I'm eagerly anticipating, even though I still have 5 books left. This is my #1 series. I did a previous video talking about how I'm just going to be pretty much binging this series to get through and get it knocked off. And then honestly though, once it is done, that'll free up a lot of time because they're pretty long books. But I can't wait to finish this one. This is very much the series I need to finish. So that gets the top billing there. And now we're going to break into just kind of everything else and talk a little bit about them. So next we have Manifest Illusions by Michael R. Fletcher, and I have 2 remaining books yet to go in this series. So I read the first book, Beyond Redemption, in April, I think. Yeah, it was April, because it was during readathon. So I read the first book, and it was just absolutely wild, just super dark, super messed up, just like being in a fever dream and reading about it. So I'm really, really curious to see where these go. So I have the next 2 books to get through in that one as well. And I don't own those yet, but I am definitely going to be getting them hopefully soon, so that I'll have those ready to get to. Next, then, we have the Willful Child trilogy by Steven Erikson. And this is just an absolute ridiculous kind of parody sci-fi type of series. The first one especially is really parodying Star Trek, and there's a lot of other references and bits of parody in there. I've read the first 2 so far, and they were quite a lot of fun. I will definitely be reading the third, which is The Search for Spark. And that one is probably coming up somewhat soon. Audio is not super long, so I definitely will be continuing there. So just 1 book left in that series, and that one will be done probably pretty shortly. Then we have Draenei by David Gemmell, and another series that I've really, really been loving. This one I actually switched to audio because I enjoy Sean Barrett's narration so much, and it's harder to find nicer copies that I wanted of his books. And so I'm like, you know what, I'll do the audio, which I really am enjoying. There's 12 total, and I have 5 left of them. So I've read more than half of the books in Draenei so far, and so just 5 left, which also will be ones, like, those should be done this year. I have plenty of other Gemmell to read, but those should be done this year because none of them are super terribly long either, and ones that I will be looking to get to. Really excited to continue with Draenei. I've enjoyed all of the books and have some that I just absolutely love. So there's that one. Another one that shouldn't be too far down the line to actually finish, which there are some like that, but there are a lot that aren't. Next up then is the Lady Trent series by Marie Brennan, and I read the first one of these, I read and did some audio. I did a mix of the first one also in Readathon month, and it was alright. And so nothing I was crazy about. There are a total of, I think, 5 books in this series, and my library has the audiobooks for all of them. So I don't have a physical copy of any of the rest of them. These will be ones I'll just kind of, as whenever I get to, I'll do audio. I was interested enough to continue, but not terribly interested, so pretty low priority overall to continue, but ones I'll get to eventually, unless I decide I don't like it and decide to quit, but it was interesting enough to continue. Next up is Rift War by Raymond E. Feist. So I only have Darkness at Sethanon, the third book in the original Rift War trilogy left. Although, on the note of Rift War, I absolutely plan on at least going to Daughter of the Empire trilogy for now. Eventually, I'd like to read all of Rift War, but that's going to be way down the line. Although, I'm also going to be not even probably trying to get to Daughter of the Empire until after I finish Janie Wirt's Wars of Light and Shadow. So I'm not entirely sure when I will end up getting to the Empire trilogy, but that's definitely going to be on there as well. So one book of the original, and then the whole trilogy for the next trilogy are the ones I'll be looking to get to for that. Then we have the Hybrid Helix series by J.C.M. Byrne. First book is Wistful Ascending. I really liked Wistful Ascending. It was a lot of fun, and there are 2 books out so far. I know there are more on the way, but 2 books out so far that I have not read. Definitely one that I'll be continuing. I had a lot of fun with, and so just superhero, space opera, really good characters, some really cool things that were kind of introduced and talked about toward the end of the first book, so I'm really excited to see where that goes. Then we have The Greatcoats by Sebastian de Castell, and I don't know why I haven't finished this one yet. I have 2 books left. I read the first 2. My library has all of the hardcovers, and so that's how I was reading these ones. And I read the first 2, and I just have not gotten to the second 2. So this is one I'd like to finish up this year, because it's, with only 2 books left, it should be relatively easy to do, but I don't specifically know when I will get to them, but hopefully that'll be one that I'll be able to finish up this year. I've liked The Greatcoats just fine. The first 2 books I thought were pretty solid. I had some issues with the first one. The second one I liked. Not mind-blowing for me, but interesting enough, and so definitely one I'm planning to continue. I know a lot of people really love the series, so I'm still very interested to continue and see where I land on it. There's so many more left. This is terrible. Next up, we have the Thomas Covenant series by Stephen R. Donaldson. So I've read the whole first trilogy, and I still need to get to the second Chronicles of Thomas Covenant, which is also a trilogy, and then there are the final Chronicles, which is 4 books, so 7 books in total. Really, I just want to at least get to the second trilogy so that I can knock that off my list. I've been meaning to get to that forever, and then the last 4 can wait for a later time when I have time. But I love the first trilogy. It's difficult books at times, and ones that are not going to work for everybody, but just the masterwork of that first trilogy, and so I really, really do want to continue, and I've been meaning to get to it for quite some time, so hopefully soon for that one as well. Then we have Book of the Ancestor by Mark Lawrence. So I read Red Sister, the first book, and I have Grey Sister and Holy Sister. I have physical copies. I wasn't crazy about Red Sister. I liked it, but it didn't do anything super special for me, so I just have not gotten around to it. I really don't know when I will. I'm not in any big rush. I eventually want to read all of his stuff too, but it's one that I wasn't as pulled in as I was for the first 2 trilogies from Lawrence, and so I'll get to it. I just don't know when. Then we have the Vanguard Chronicles by H.L. Tinsley. So the first book is We Men of Ash and Shadow. Really, really enjoyed We Men of Ash and Shadow. And I can't remember the title of the second book, but the second book is out, and so I need to get a copy of it yet and definitely read that. And then I imagine there will be more of that series as well, but at least the second book is out, so I have 1 to go here for that. Then we have Rune Lords by David Farland, and I've really been enjoying Rune Lords. And this is another one that will soon be knocked off of the list. Been doing a buddy read of a book a month, and so I only have 3 left. Look behind me. Yeah, 3 left. 3 left of what's out of the 8. There may eventually be a 9th out, and hopefully there is. I think it's either 9th or 10th. I don't know. There may be an additional one that comes out posthumously. The author has passed away, but had work done on the final novel. But I'm planning to just read at least the ones that are out, because they've been ones where they're very enjoyable and building up to a lot. So even if I can't get to that one right away, I'm still going to be doing these. And so these have been going well. And since doing 1 a month, I definitely will be finishing that this year as well here too. So that one will be knocked off the list for sure. Then we have Earthsea by Ursula K. Le Guin. And I should have finished this last year, heck, because we were doing a buddy read, and I read the first 3. I was pretty late on them. I just was having trouble fitting it in with other things I was reading at the time, so I still need to read the last 3 of that too, which is like Tahanu, Tales of Earthsea, and The Other Wind. So I still need to read those in my giant fancy copy, which is not even in here anymore. It's on a different shelf, and I forgot about it. But still need to get to those. But was enjoying Earthsea. Had read at least the first one when I was very young, and hadn't read at least some of the others, and so I was really interested to continue and kind of get through and see. And so I will definitely be getting back. They're also not terribly long, so I probably should have gotten to them before now, but I just still haven't. But it's coming. It definitely is coming. Then we have World of Five Gods by Lois McMaster Bujold. So I read the first book in here, which was The Curse of Chalian, and I really enjoyed Curse of Chalian, and it's definitely an author in a series that I want to check out more of. I've also heard really good things about her Verkosgan saga, but I want to read the other books in this series first. I have the next couple, and I need to get some more, but yeah, I've got 3 other books in there. There's some main books, and then there's some collections of like short novellas as well, and I have one of those. I need to get the others, so I have a good chunk of these physically already, and so we'll be working on them. But it's just kind of taken a backseat to some of the things that I've really been working on, and so that's why that's been slowed down. But absolutely we'll be continuing those as well. We're nearing the end now, I promise. Next up is War for the Rose Throne by Peter McLean, the first book being Priest of Bones. And so there are, this is a trilogy, so there are 2 more books in here. I have the second one, not the third yet, and another one that I did quite enjoy and absolutely will be considering. Read the first one during Readathon month as well, and just need to get to continuing that. I started too many series that month, and now I feel like that's what's added to this list, because a good few of these are from that month. But here it is, so 2 books left there. And then we have, of course, Discworld, which I have been reading in publication order, and I have 23 left. 23 out of like the 41 books in Discworld, which means, I'm almost halfway. That's pretty good. I'll definitely be reading some more Discworld in the coming months. But at the same time, Discworld has been the ultimate taking it easy series. I read one whenever I'm like, I feel like reading a Discworld, or want to fit one in. I did a couple of them during Readathon month, and so I had a lot of fun with it, and I've enjoyed most of the books. Not all of them, but most of the books I've enjoyed, and so I'll definitely be continuing, but it'll probably honestly be a couple of years before I'm actually done, because I'm keeping it as my kind of fun when I need something different or a palate cleanser type of series. So now getting to the things that are a little lower priority. I recently did the first Beware of Chicken book on audio by Casual Farmer, and it was oddly enjoyable, and I quite liked it. I've heard really mixed things about the sequels though, and so that's kind of relegated it into being if I feel like something a little different or something kind of light, I will pop that in and still continue, but another one that I'm not like super eager or like urgently trying to get to. And then we have the 3 that I'm calling kind of the soft DNFs, which range from soft to kind of harder DNFs, but things that I've started that I do not know that I'll continue. First being the Fred the Vampire Accountant by Drew Hayes. I did the first one on audio, and it was okay, but I wasn't a huge fan. And they're fairly short, and I think all unscripted. So I will probably continue at some point and at least try out the second one, but it's also not something I'm super urgently getting to. Then the next up is The Dresden Files by Jim Butcher. I recently was listening to the next book in this one, which I think was Death Masks, maybe? I think that was the one I was on. And I borrowed it from the library. I waited weeks for it to come through, and I listened to a little bit of it, and I just returned it. I'm like, I'm not doing this right now. I've not been a huge fan of the Dresden Files. It's ranged from, it was fine, I guess, to I actively don't like this with the books I've read so far. I know people say it gets a lot better, but I'm not enjoying it very much, and I just got annoyed at some minor thing that happened, and I'm just like, okay, I'm done with this for now. So I don't know if I'll return to the Dresden Files. I'll still keep in mind my library has the audiobooks for like all of them, so even though I don't have copies of any of them anymore, I'll have access to them if I decide to continue, so we will see, but that's kind of where that one is. Next up then we have another gut punch, I know, Cradle by Will White. So I've read the first 2, And once again, just not really a fan. Don't really see the hype or appeal. I have heard the third book is supposed to be the one where, like, if you're not into it by the third book, you're not going to get into it. So I do plan to at least try the third one, but I haven't, like, actively disliked the books. I just, I thought book one was okay. It was decent, and I liked book two actually a little bit less than book one. And so I'll see eventually, but I don't know if this one's gonna be for me. I'm really not much into progression fantasy, although I've tried out a bit more, and it's been a hit or miss for me. There have been some I've liked and some I haven't, and so that might just not be for me. But so we'll see where we land on that one. But definitely no guarantees. And finally, we have the Song of the Shattered Sands by Bradley Bolu. I did the first book of this, and then I think I might have started some of the second book, but I put this down. I wasn't really feeling it, and at the time, it's just they're pretty long books, and I just really didn't have time to continue with them. I did unhaul my physical copies because it's a big series, and I figure if I do continue, it'll probably be audio, and it'll probably be a bit down the line. So I'll see, but it's another one that I don't know that I'm going to get back to or not, although I haven't completely written it off. And the one I actually didn't put here that I completely forgot about, although this is probably a harder DNF, but maybe, who knows, was Course of Dragons by Jen Lyons. I had mixed feelings on the first one, but still overall quite liked it. And then I started the second book, and there were some things I liked about it, and I ended up doing some of it on audio, and the audio was phenomenal, but I just did not care about the book, and I quit like halfway through the second book, unhauled my copies of those as well, so unlikely to get back to that, but we will see. Who knows, maybe. But anyways, this is a ridiculously long video, but those are all of the series that I have ongoing, how many books I have left, and kind of where I am and how I'm feeling about them at this time. So let me know, especially if you have more than that. Let me know so that I feel better in the comments. Always like to see that, but it's always curious seeing how many ongoing series people have too. I used to be like a start to finish series person, and BookTube has completely destroyed that for me, so it is weird having this many ongoing series, but sometimes that's just the way it goes. So yeah, let me know what your count is, or if you've got any of these that you think I should bump up or bump down or anything like that. Always interested to see your thoughts. That's it for this one, though. Make sure to give the video a like if you enjoyed it. Check the link in the description, as always, for the Wizard They Do a Discord if you want to chat books, whether any of these books, other books, any books, really anything at all. It is a lot of fun, and we would love to have you. And, of course, if you enjoy my content, make sure to subscribe.